This is my mother's jacket. She has been on the subway when somebody tried to cut her pockets and rob her. She hasn't noticed anything and her pockets have been empty, but now there are 2 cuts on her jacket that we have to fix. I sewed one of the holes using the zigzag stitch, but that's not how the jacket would look in the end. The first idea I had was to cut a piece of fabric the same size as the pocket, remove the decorative button and sew the piece on top to cover the cuts. I couldn't find suitable fabric, so I came up with another idea. I will cut a piece of this fabric, then I will fold it and sew it over the cuts. I will cut 3 stripes with and I will fold the piece the same way as for a bias tape. This will hide the rough edges. If you have a ribbon, you can use it instead of making this strip. I ironed the strip with the iron set to 2 dots. It should look like this. I will place the strip on top of the first cut, then I will sew a second strip close to it. Then on the second pocket I will sew the first strip close to the edge and the second one will be over the cut. This way the strips will be symmetrical. First I will cut the strip to make the end straight, then I will fold the end and sew it. Start sewing from the side which is close to the seam because this will ensure that the fabric won't be guttered. My first stitch is right on top of the hem seam. To make the other end you need to cut the strip so it is a bit longer, then fold the end and sew over it. I forgot to take some close-up shots, but the seam I'm making is a straight seam very close to the edge of the strip. In other words, you just have to sew a rectangle box over the strip. You can use a pair of scissors or something pointy to push the sticking piece from the folded end under the strip. Please don't forget to support me by liking the video. This is how the jacket looks like with the first strip sewn. I sewed the strip above the hem so the gathering string on the bottom is still usable. Here's what the other side looks like. Now I have to sew the second strip over the second cut. I will measure the distance between both strips and I will sew one to the other side too. This way both sides of the jacket will look the same. In my case, the cut is exactly 1 strip to the left, so as you can see, I'm using the other end of the strip to measure the distance. Unfortunately, this video is not a universal fix, but it may give you a useful idea and some tips. Now take scissors and cut the strip so it is a bit bigger than needed. Fold the end, check if it's positioned correctly and pin it to the jacket. It's best to double check everything before sewing it. Tell me, do you have another idea to fix this jacket in the comments below? In my case, each strip is 3 cm wide and the space between them should also be 3 cm. Now pin the other strip the same way and sew them starting from the hem. This is the final result. The pockets became a bit smaller, but they are still usable. This is how the jacket looks from the inside. Note that you have to check the inside for zippers and pockets before sewing. I hope this vlog will give you an idea that you may use in the future. Thank you for watching, have a nice day and be careful on the subway.